Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Meredith Henson. I am the Head of Solutions Consultancy at Total Learning, and I am joined by Lee Cooper, our Senior Solutions Consultant. Hey Lee.
I'm Meredith. Hi everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world.
I wonder who's in good evening. I guess there might be a few. So welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be offering a demonstration of the Total Talent Experience platform. Before we get started, I can see a few people are still joining, so I'm just going to run a very quick poll, hopefully. All of a sudden I can't see the poll button, so maybe I won't be. Oh, maybe, Lee, I'm not a full presenter, so I don't have access to the poll. So maybe that's why I don't see the poll button. Do you see a poll button on your screen? Now I am. Magic.
You should be able to now.
I'm going to start making wishes and see what comes through now. So I'm just launching a very quick welcome poll just to know a little bit about you. I'm going to be talking to you for at least 30 minutes. So it'd be nice to know who I'm talking to. All of the responses are anonymous, so we're not collecting and shamelessly using your data. We're just genuinely interested in who we're speaking to today. So thank you for everyone who's responding. So while you're having a look at that poll, just to let everyone know that we are recording today's session. We make the recording and the slides available to everyone through the Total community. If you're not a member of the Total community already, please do sign up. It is free to create an account. You just need to register an account, that's all you need. And that will give you access to not only the Total Academy to learn about the different areas of all of the products that we offer, but a range of additional resources. So a range of ebooks and guides and helpful resources, plus all the other webinars that me and the team, and in fact, some of our Total customers have also run. So thank you for everyone who has answered that poll. It's a wacky split today. So we're almost in thirds in terms of existing users, partners and people that haven't used Total before. So welcome one and all, quite a diverse group, which is what we want to see. So thank you so much. So today's session, as I say, is going to be a demo. I'm going to start with a couple of PowerPoint slides. I promise there's only a few, and then I'm going to go straight into my demo site and you'll actually see the product. The questions are welcome through the Q&A area of Zoom. That way Lee can mark those questions I've answered or that he's answered himself, so we can track everything that we've responded to, and particularly track what we haven't covered so that we can follow up in the community and answer any questions that we didn't get a chance to address. Anything else, like any comments or additional information that you want to provide, please use the chat. Lee is also looking after the chat. He's a multitasking genie, so he will be looking after you there behind the scenes. And he'll also occasionally post links to relevant areas. I like to surprise Lee whenever I can and ask him to dig out a link to a certain course or a resource without warning, just to check that he's still listening. So have a look in the chat. Now, everything will be available in the community, the recording, the slides, and as I say, any follow-up in the discussion forum. So if you think of any questions after the fact, again, jump into the community and we are keeping an eye out on that. So if you have any questions, pop them in there. So before I get started, Lee, anything that I need to know?
No questions coming through yet. I've popped a link into the Academy so people can, that haven't got an account, can set up an account, and just as a reminder for everybody else.
Perfect, thank you very much. So let's start off with what is the Total Talent Experience platform, since we've got a number of new users here. So Total Talent Experience platform is a combination of 3 different products. So Total Learn, our learning management system, Total Engage, our learner experience platform or LXP, and Total Perform, our performance management product. Now these can be used all together to form the TXP Talent Experience platform, used individually or in any combination that you like. So they share some functionality, they offer some unique functionality, and they connect at different points. Altogether though, they provide an end-to-end learning solution for both formal and informal learning, for compliance-based training and knowledge sharing and collaboration, all the way through to ongoing development, regular performance management and competency management functionality. So I'm going to start, as I said, promise there's not going to be a lot of PowerPoint slides. Really, this is more helpful for those that are watching the recording, or people that perhaps I'm speaking a little bit too fast for, who can go back and review some of these screenshots and some of this information. So Totara Learn is our learning management system and is very much focused on instructor-led training, formal learning, but it also offers a range of options around personalization, adaptive learning. There is a focus around compliance and mandatory training in terms of managing and recertification, certification. There's detailed and complex course management. There's multi-tenancy, there's a custom learning catalog. And you can also create both online and offline or a blended approach to your learning. So we have support for offline, face-to-face or virtual training management as well. Now, we also have the Totara mobile app. We have the app available for both iOS and Android. And the mobile is a support or an addition to Totara Learn. So if you're using Totara Learn, you have access to download and use the mobile app available for all Play stores and the iTunes store as you like. And it can be branded. People can use the same login that they use for the main site. And this facilitates learning on the go and just-in-time learning. So individuals can log into the app, they can access their current learning, they can go into their courses, their programs and their certifications, download content like their e-learning content like SCORM, potentially complete that offline or complete other items while connected to the internet. And they can also use that to receive notifications that are pushed from the system. So reminders, for example, that they've got an assignment due, or that they're booked onto a seminar event in the next week, or a range of different notifications. Users can choose how they receive notifications across the system. There's just a few screenshots in terms of what it would look like from the user perspective in terms of the mobile app there. Now we also have Totara Engage, our learner experience, learner engagement platform, our LXP. And this is very much focused on informal learning or peer-to-peer learning, knowledge sharing, collaboration, communication. So I'm sure everyone appreciates that there's formal learning and instructor-led training definitely has a place, particularly across business, enterprise and government. But of course, knowledge isn't always wrapped up in courses. It is across your organizations, it's within individuals, and sharing that is what Totara Engage is designed to do. So it allows you to open up those silos of information, share information, but also for individuals to undertake their own additional learning. They might complete a course in Totara Learn, think, gosh, that's interesting, and then go ahead and do their own additional research or dig further into that subject and then choose to perhaps share that content and have their peers and other team members benefit from that additional learning. It also offers workspaces, which are collaborative sharing spaces where you can share particular content or discussions with certain groups. They could be open or they can be private groups. So they can be used for people that may be onboarding or going through a particular journey for maybe one team or maybe for multiple teams to have as a connection point. Now, as if you haven't already, and since Leah's posted the link there, created an account on the Totara community, we ourselves are using both Learn and Engage there on the community. So you can, don't take my word for it, you can log in and have a look and see how we're leveraging the Learn side of things in terms of our training and the workspaces and the sharing in terms of Engage, and seeing how that can create very much an end-to-end learning and learning journey for individuals. So Totara Engage includes all the functionality that you would expect across an LXP. So users or select users can create and curate content. They can have those as individual pieces of information or resources, or they can bundle those together or curate those together in playlists. There's the collaborative workspaces that I've mentioned. There's a range of access and sharing and creation options. So if you don't want everyone to create content, you can assign access to certain individuals. All of the resources go into that same catalog as the learn content. So you've got one large catalog of all the different type of learning that's available across your site. Now, Engage also includes an integration with MS Teams, which will allow you to optionally receive notifications from the system to your team chat. And it will give you access to your library of content to create and share content, as well as browse and go into your courseware or your course items as well. There's also a
Hi, is everybody still able to hear Meredith? Thanks everybody for
machine learning driven recommendations engine, which I'll show managers. Oh, did I disappear?
Yes, you did, and just it spoke very, very quickly then. Sorry about that, Meredith. I don't know what happened.
Was it faster than normal?
Faster than normal, yeah. It just caught up.
Where did you lose me? Engage? Or had I
just on the previous slide. You were talking about the Teams integration.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lee. Oh, internet. So the Teams integration will allow you to optionally receive notifications to your chat. And it will also allow you to go into your library of content, create new items, share new items, as well as review and enroll in courses that sit within your site. So then there's Total Perform, a performance management system. This allows you to create a range of different performance activities, as well as have a high level or advanced management of competencies across your system. Competencies being those skills, behaviors, knowledge that are important for individuals to be safe, efficient, happy and healthy across all of their work. Now, underpinning the Total Perform and the performance activities is the idea of continuous review and improvement, continuous performance management, rather than the big scary once a year appraisals that everyone dreads and everyone is good around appraisal times. It's stressful for everyone. The system is built so while it can support that, it also supports and primarily is designed to support smaller but meaningful step and continuous performance management discussions between managers and staff, or trainers and learners, or mentors and mentees. So you can create a range of different performance activities, appraisals, feedback, check-ins. There is a detailed reporting behind all of those. And of course, I've touched on this competency management functionality where you can assign and track and review and report on different competencies assigned to different groups, and different groups can have different proficiency requirements for each of those competencies. Now, I'm throwing a lot of words at you and a lot of PowerPoint, and I did promise I was going to stop, so I shall. And what I'm going to do now is skip over to my demo site and show you what that means and what all that looks like from a user perspective. And then depending on the kind of questions we get, we may skip over to a learner perspective. Are there any questions or concerns other than the fact that I disappeared and then went chipmunk for a moment in the chat or Q&A? Lee?
No, there's no questions yet, Meredith. Yeah, you can continue.
Thank you very much. So the site that I am working on is what we call a vanilla site. And that means there's no branding, there's no additional plugins, there's no custom code, there's no custom integrations. So this is what you would get, all the functionality that you would have available to out of the box. There's a little bit of configuration here, just some pretty images here and there, and things like turning on the recommendations engine and setting up some courses. So we've got something to demo, but otherwise this is what you'd get out of the box. However, there are a range of different looks and feels that you can assign your site. Now, depending on time, I may bring up a PowerPoint slide with a bunch of different screenshots of different themes and brands and looks that you can apply to your site or have developed for your site. There's some options out of the box, which you can change colors and logos and images, or you can go for a full bespoke theme. And that's where our partner network can provide those services to you. So I'm focusing very much on the functionality that's available. Please imagine it and you're fully branded with all of your marketing approved images and the right size logos and fonts and colors for your organization. And then focus on the functionality that we're seeing rather than look and feel, which is 100% configurable. But out of the box, the system is fully responsive. So you can see as I change my look and feel, I'm not going to scare you back to the PowerPoint, don't worry, that it is a fully responsive system so that you can use it on a variety of different devices. So finally, 16 minutes in, she presses log into the demo site. So this is, as I say, my login site, and I'm logging in as a learner. If you're ever wondering what type of learner or what type of user I'm logged in as, I always put it, excuse me, I always put it in the name. So I've got Lisa Learner, me a manager, admin user. And by learner, I mean someone that has an account on the site, but doesn't necessarily manage anyone, doesn't have any particular administrative rights. So just a kind of a standard everyday user of your site. Now I've logged in and I've hit this dashboard page, and you can have these dashboard pages can look however you like. In this case, I've got a couple of navigation points, graphical navigation points that I've added here. I've got one version of my recommendations engine showing here, which is trending items. I've got some alerts to tell me what I need to do. Thankfully, Lisa doesn't have any tasks that she would have to do as well. Any upcoming certifications that I might need to complete or recomplete, and my current learning and where I am and where I need to be for each of those items that I'm enrolled in. I also see any of my badges that I have recently received. So the system itself can, would we go, send or offer or award, that's the word I was looking for, award badges to individuals based on a range of criteria, whether that be course completion, program completion, or being a member of an audience. Now, an audience and audiences underpins a lot of the automation and personalization across the site. So for example, what dashboards I see is determined by audiences. So an audience is a group of users. It might be a set audience where we specify who's a member of that audience. Maybe there's 3 or 4 or 5 people are part of that audience, and that's just one audience. Or you can have what are called dynamic audiences. And dynamic audiences are rule-based or criteria-based groups, where if you meet those criteria, you're added to the group. And optionally, if you stop meeting those criteria, you are removed from the group. In a nice way, but it might be that you've switched your preferred language, that you've changed your role, that you've moved to a different team, that you have or haven't completed a certain learning item. All of those can be criteria for audiences. So in this case, I've got 2 dashboards I have access to. So this item here, which has got a little bit more personalized information in terms of my alerts, or I can skip over to a very simplified dashboard, which has just got a few navigation points and the items that I'm currently enrolled in. So I could jump straight into a course. I can click on this percentage here and see what I need to do to complete this course. There is both activity tracking and course completion tracking across the site. And alternatively, if Lisa doesn't feel like completing a course that she's already enrolled in, she can skip over to this Find Learning area and look at the course catalog or the learning catalog. So this is all the learning that's available in the site. You can show everything to everyone, or you can leverage that audiences functionality I was just talking about to limit or allow visibility to certain learning items to certain groups. So there's nothing worse than going into a site which has 1,000 different courses and only 20 are relevant to you. And what you can do is build those audiences, apply those visibility settings to your course catalog. So as a learner goes in, they only see the most relevant content that to them at that point in time, And if their circumstances change, they might see a different set or subset of that information. Now I've got a search functionality and a range of filters. All of this is configurable, so I can choose how much or how little information displays in each of these tiles. I can choose whether I've got some additional information that pops up, or whether on clicking this particular tile or card, I can jump straight to the course. There could be self-enrollment, there could be guest access, or some courses might be blocked and you might require a manager or an administrator to enroll you in a particular course. While I take a desperate sip of tea here, Millie, are there any questions?
No, Meredith, there's still no questions. I think everyone's suffering from a little bit of Thursday afternoon shyness today.
Well, don't be shy, folks. Keep Lee busy, please. Please keep him on his toes. But thank you very much for letting me have a sip. I was parched as. So this is my learning catalog, and all these filters here are configurable, so I can create my own custom filters and apply them to my learning items, or I can use a range of default options here. So I mentioned that we've got different types of resources and playlists, so let's just do a little bit of defining here. So courses are holders or bundle up different activities. That activity might be a SCORM or an e-learning activity. It might be a file or goodness, maybe even a PowerPoint presentation. It could also be a seminar activity, which is that face-to-face or virtual training. So a course bundles up all of those activities. A program is a collection of those courses. It could be one, but typically is several courses. And you can have a prescribed order and set of courses that you need to complete in terms of your program, or you can make it more adaptive. So a user might choose, 2 of these 3 courses or 4 of 5 of these courses, and then go into another set of courses. So you can create quite sophisticated training pathways or learning pathways using this program's functionality to get people to complete a larger piece of learning than just a single course. We also have certifications, which are like programs in that they're a collection of courses. However, they manage the certification and recertification around mandatory and compliance-based training. Put more simply, you have a set of courses that you complete, and then on a periodic basis, you recomplete another set of courses. So putting that into practice, thinking about first aid training, you might do 2, 3, 4 day intensive first aid training when you first certify, and then maybe a 1-day refresher when you recertify every 12 months. So every 12 months, you recomplete that one course. That's what certifications manage. It manages that completion and recompletion and the tracking of that recompletion. It also tracks notifications and reminders and feeds into the reporting tool. So the managers know what their staff should be doing, the staff know what they should be doing, and an administrator knows if no one's doing what they're supposed to be doing. So there's things like red, amber, green reporting for people that have failed to certify, because that could jeopardize their health, their safety, and the health and safety of others if they fail to comply. Now we also have resources and playlists. So to talk about those, I'm going to jump away from the course catalog for a moment and enter into your library. So this is where, this is Total Engage, and you'll notice that I've jumped from Learn content and the dashboards and the course catalog to Engage, not a big jump in terms of the navigation. From the user perspective, it's a single platform, it's a single piece of software. So this is my library. This is where I can create and share content that I have created. This is me, maybe as a, or Lisa rather, I shouldn't project. This is Lisa as a subject matter expert, or as an individual that is passionate about a certain subject, or has just wants to bookmark a bunch of resources to read and review later. So we can create new pieces of content ad hoc. So we can give it a title, and we can add in some content. You can add attachments and links. You can embed media, or you can go to YouTube and find a video here, grab the URL, and you can copy and paste that directly into an item. You can also add in static images or any number of videos from YouTube or Vimeo, and it will embed automatically like this. Once I'm happy with this content, which I'm not really, but we're going to have to deal with that. Then I will go to next. Then I can choose who I share it with, if I share it at all. If I choose to share it with everyone, this is where I can identify it as being micro-learning, so taking less than 5 minutes to watch or to read, and that feeds into the recommendations engine. And I'll talk a bit more about the recommendations engine in a moment. I can also assign it different topics, and for those that notice everything, you might notice that these topics align to some of the filters that we saw on that course catalog. And I can create these topics or tags and add them as filters in that course catalog or that learning catalog, so I can find resources that are important to me or relevant to me. And again, these topics feed into that recommendations engine. So if I look at a piece of content that's around customer care, particularly if I give it a high rating or a like, then the recommendations will go, oh, Lisa is super interested in customer care. Here are a bunch of other information or resources that you might be interested in, Lisa. I can also then choose to share with specific people as well. Even though I've shared it with everyone, I can share it with a particular workspace or an individual so that they get an alert that content has been created. In this case, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm just going to go done. And now we have a piece of content that's available. Now, this will now be available in the Find Learning area, or I can add it to a playlist, which is my curated content. Before I do that, just to highlight what some of these different icons do and mean, we've got let's have a look, a good one. A thumbs up means that 2 people in this case have liked this piece of content. The speech bubble is comments. The 2 item here is how many shares, and this 1 item here is how many workspaces it's been added to. So for example, I could go into this as a piece of content. You see there's content and image. Because I'm the author, as I hover over it, I have my edit option. I can add to it, or I can edit it, and I can edit a range of options, including things like my topics, and I can view the commentary across this. Now, Lisa is a big promoter of her own content, so Lisa has a great article, and you can post it and have a threaded discussion around a particular piece of content. And again, we see these thumbs up. I can't like my own comment, thankfully. So you can also like other people's commentary that they've added to both resources and playlists, which ultimately feeds into the reporting functionality, which again, I'll show you once I'm logged in as an admin. So you can see user engagement. You can identify those users that are not only creating good content and getting a lot of likes, but those people that are being collaborative and communicative across those resources, those people that are posting meaningful responses and getting likes on that. So not only can you identify your subject matter expert stars, you can also identify people that are acting in a positive way, that are communicating, who are collaborating, and ultimately, either promote them to create more content, encourage them to do that, or reward and award through badges or any other means your organization has. So skipping back to my resources, I'll do playlists, and then we can open the floor for questions, which I hope you've submitted to keep Lee busy. So playlists are your content curation. So individual pieces of content, those resources, very helpful, but really the strength comes when they're bundled up into a meaningful group of content or related content. So just like your playlists in your preferred music platform, you might create a playlist that has similar content or similar music. You might have a playlist which is a start to finish journey. So you might have a warm up, a run, a warm down type music. And you can do the same thing with the playlists across Total Engage. So you can add content that is unique to a playlist, or you can select from content that you have already created, or even content that other people have created who have shared that content. So Mia Manager has created this content, which I can now add to this particular playlist. If this isn't in the right order, then I can drag and drop and move it around so that people have that start to finish journey and know where to start and where they're going to build in terms of those playlists. Right, any questions around resources or playlists?
No, these no questions come through about that yet, Meredith.
Okie dokie. Right, let's look at workspaces. So I've touched on workspaces a few times here. So these are your collaborative sharing and communication spaces. So they might be, as I say, workspaces of people going through a similar journey, like onboarding. It might be a particular subject, like extended enterprise. It might be for a certain group, or it might be for multiple groups as a way to communicate and share. And again, you'll see within the TOTRA Academy and the TOTRA community, we've created a number of workspaces to focus on different areas. So if you'd like firsthand experience of workspaces, I encourage you to go into the community and pick one and join up and see what it's like to be a member of a workspace. So this is a workspace that Lisa has created. You would have seen from her library that she's super excited about multi-tenancy and she's loving the idea of extended enterprise. So she has created this workspace, added a few key members from the team, some decision makers, and she's added to the library the content that she's created around multi-tenancy, as well as a few additional items and one of these surveys that you can create when you build a resource. So I've already answered this, so I can see pretty much Lisa's on her own here, but that's simply because it's a demo site and there's no one else to support Lisa. But this is an example of where you can create a workspace, where you can have a discussion, where you can share content. You can again rate and like that content and rate and enjoy the commentary and discussion within the system. Okie dokie. Now, jumping back to Find Learning, I want to give a very quick example of some of the functionality that's available within the formal side of learning, so these courses. So if I go into this course called Adaptive Learning, this is a course that Lisa has already made a start on but has not finished. This is a very simple, very text heavy course. You can embed imagery, you can use images as navigation points. You can add, so it looks a little bit more like a dashboard, or you can embed media directly on this course page. But again, I don't want to clutter it too much so that I can focus on the fact that not only can you do nice gamification tools like leaderboards and hiding certain content for certain groups of users, can also be used to create adaptive pathways for individuals. So again, a lot of automation, and a lot of personalized and personalizable content across the full talent experience platform. So here in this course, individuals start with a pre-assessment quiz, and depending on their response, they're directed to different content. In this case, Lisa absolutely smashed it with 80%. And doesn't need to go through that catch-up content, but another individual may have to go through a catch-up piece of content or a refresher on a certain subject before they move on to attending, for example, the seminar event, the face-to-face event, or completing another assessed activity. So the seminar tool, say this is a way to manage and create face-to-face or virtual events. And seminars, you can have any number of them per course. A seminar can have, could be a single event on a single day. For instance, the second item here that I've just highlighted, or it could be an event that's run over multiple days or multiple times. These are called sessions. And again, no limit to the number of sessions that you have. And an individual signs up for an event, and then you can track attendance at each of the sessions that make up that event. Now there's full resource management built in and behind the seminar tool. And that includes room management, whether that be a physical room or we've got a deep integration with MS Teams and Zoom. So when a course creator or administrator creates a course and creates a seminar, then they can link that to Teams or Zoom, and in a corresponding event or room or space within Teams or Zoom is also created. And for anyone who's booked into the course, they'll have a Join Now button when that session is due to start, and they can jump straight to Teams or Zoom. Now, in terms of booking onto a session, you can filter and search for an event that's applicable to you. You might want to avoid certain facilitators. You might want to look for a certain location that's nearby or that suits you. You might look for an event that's maybe open versus being closed or finished. And when you book onto these events, you can choose as a course creator or an administrator whether these events allow self-enrollment or self-approval, whether you require manager approval to be booked into it, or even two-stage manager and administrator approval to attend these events. And there's workflows and notifications and reminders all built into the system, but you can also create your own customized and personalized notifications and reminder behind this whole booking system. You can also add facilitators or trainers for the event, as well as equipment and services. So what we call assets might be a laptop, might be a microphone, might be catering, fingers crossed it's catering. And we can have all of these things built into the seminar event. Any questions across seminars or courses there?
A question's literally just come through from Paula. It says,
Paula.
Perfect timing it was. If delegates attend virtual sessions, does it automatically record them as having attended the course?
Great question. Great question. No, it doesn't. And there's good reasons for that. So attendance is different from engagement. So when I log in as an administrator, in fact, let's stop talking about it and start doing it, Meredith. When you log in as an admin, you can mark attendance, but you can also offer a grade. So someone might have dialed into the webinar, but may not have said anything, may have been clearly checking their emails or playing on their phone the entire time. So that rather than attendance being the mark of completion, instead, it's a way to record their actual physical or virtual attendance, but you can offer a separate grade. So for example, here in the seminar session here, I can take attendance. And here I've got a range of options in terms of fully attended, partially attended, unable to attend or no show. Maybe Amanda attended, but she was playing Candy Crush Mountain the entire time, so I'll give her a failing event. Having said that, you can export and import a CSV file with attendance information. So things like Zoom and Teams, you can export a CSV file and then you can re-import that directly into Totara. So it's an extra click or two, but you can, if you want to have attendance as a record, then you can do so. And this functionality, in fact, means that you can use the seminar tool for big events. So those events that some of us are only still dreaming about, where maybe you are scanned in or by barcode or QR code to attend, something where maybe 50 plus individuals might attend, and you can usually download that scanned data and again into CSV, and then you can upload that into Totara, allowing you to provide those individuals that went to the event to maybe receive or download a certificate or a badge, or even complete a further assessment to check their understanding of the event, or even offer and complete a survey based on how they enjoyed the event. Okay, so you can mark attendance, and there are a range of other features across the seminar tool. There is reporting, there's dashboards, there's ways to manage multiple signups in terms of preventing people that maybe have been fully attended from attending again, and ratings and activity tracking. Now that I'm logged in as an administrator, sorry, I should say, thank you very much for the question, Paula. Now I'm logged in as an administrator, you can see that this course has changed a lot. I now have a visibility to what this catch-up content is, and you can see that it's grade-based in this case. So if I get a particular score in this quiz, I get activity 1, another set of score, I think this is sort of 20 to 40 and 40 to 60 type thing, then I get a different activity, a second check, and then a third and final option to pass this course with this upskill, and then you need to complete the quiz again. So this is your adaptive pathways. This is your gamification. So you can hide and show different content to individuals based on a range of criteria, not just completion or grade. It can be based on who they are, where they do it, in terms of their access rights, in terms of their position, in terms of their organization, in terms of their audience. You can even use it for their preferred language, or a combination of all of those things. So you can, at a very granular level, target certain information to certain groups. And again, leveraging that, you can tap into people's competitive spirit around leaderboards and activity completion. And we have, and here's your opportunity to shine here, Lee, this is the surprise link of the day. We have a gamification guide that's available from our website, which you can download and have a look at, which will talk about all the different ways you can use Toto to motivate learners to use that gamification, to tap into people that like discovering everything, people that like to get the best grades or the nicest badges, all of those things. So it's worth having a look at that particular guide. So please, would you kindly, Lee, add in the surprise link of the day. So now I'm logged in as an administrator. Looking at the time, I want to just cover some of the reporting, and then I'll talk a little bit about Perform. So jumping back as an administrator to that dashboard, I see similar content. Now that I've been clicking on some things, I see some more trending items here in my recommendations engine, but I could optionally have recommendations showing recommendations for workspaces to join, for courses to complete, for micro learning, so items that take less than 5 minutes to view, and your previous interactions, the likes, the responses, the comments, the topics, the tags, the content of all these resources and these courses and these workspaces feeds into that machine learning driven recommendations engine. So besides trending content, all of the recommendations are very much personalized for that individual, their previous activity and activity of people that are similar to them in a variety of aspects. On this dashboard, as an administrator, I have access to a range of other dashboards. So you can see you can have different layouts, different content. I can have, what's this one look like? Let's spin the wheel. We've got chess in this example, and the featured links sit down the side. Because I'm an administrator and also a manager in this case, I can also have a dashboard which uses the reporting functionality to create graphical reports and deliver them here into this dashboard. Perfect segue into the reporting tool. So there's a range of reporting available across the site. You can, you get all of the course type reports you would expect, the course completion, participation, grades. There's a range of embedded reports which are available, such as user search, which you can tweak and change to your requirements, or you can build your own reports from scratch using this report builder. And whenever you click on a report, the report is generated automatically and as a snapshot in time. This might be familiar from the dashboard that we just looked at. And there's a range of different graph types. So there's your scatter graph, your line graph, your pie graph, your donuts, your progress donuts, your area, and a range of bar graphs as well. You can also create your own reports. And this looks quite similar to the course catalog or the learning catalog here. And you can view all the different types of content or areas you can report on, such as engagement, for example. And I can either do a quick create and view that report, or I can go in and I can edit it. So this is where we can identify people that are creating content, that are getting likes, that are involved in the organization and in creating and sharing across the organization. I could optionally go into a report and create a new report. Let's create and edit this user report. And I can add a range of columns or information that will display. I can remove items, or I can add a range of information that relates to users. So all of their profile information, all of their job assignments and positions and job positions and roles, who their manager is, and some basic statistics around what they've done in terms of learning. And you can also filter this content, so based on people's different jobs or access rights or what team they're in or what role they hold within that team. So you can have one report that will service multiple individuals, and each of them will see a subset of the data available. So they'll only see contextually the information that they should. So for example, as a manager, I can go to this teams area and see a report, but because these are only my direct reports, I only see the information for in this case, direct reports. Another manager would see a whole different list, although would see the same information in terms of these columns. So as a manager of individuals, I can review people's learning plans, I can set them different goals, I can review their competency profile, and all of that sits within the perform side of things. So we'll say goodbye to admin user for just a second, and welcome back to the stage, Lisa Lerner. And I want to go into her competencies area. That dramatic pause was me just taking a sip of water. So here is Lisa Lerner logged in and looking at her performance around competencies and the competencies that have been assigned to her for various reasons. So in this case, Lisa has got 4 sets of different competencies assigned to her based on her job position, what team she sits in, what her manager or me as admin user has assigned to her, and the competencies that she has assigned herself. So again, competencies are those skills, behaviors, knowledge that an individual must or might need to have to do their job effectively. And these competencies can be, you can have multiple competency frameworks. You can add them in manually, or you can bulk upload them, or you can have them connecting and updating automatically from an external competency framework system or management system. And for each of these competencies, there is an achievement path that can be completely customized for each competency. And you can assign a different scale, which might have more than 3 steps. It might have 12 steps. It might have 2 steps. And these steps can be called different things. And there's different levels of proficiency within these scales. So I might need to be fully proficient in this process mapping, which means I'd have to go to my competent area. But another individual might not do a lot of process mapping in their job, so they only need to be competent with supervision, and that's their proficient level. So in this case, competencies, this particular competency is achieved by first off being assigned the competency, then completing this particular course, Introduction to Process Mapping, and then advanced mapping, advanced process mapping. In this case, and Lisa has already completed these courses. So you can see that they're at 100%, but there's also tied to these competencies a manual rating. So Lisa might rate herself. She might, in terms of her proficiency, she might think, I've done the course, but I still don't feel confident. So she might give herself a lower rating. Alternatively, her manager might go, you did the course, you passed the course, you were great, but you're not demonstrating those behaviors. You're not being effective in your process mapping. So I'm going to give you a lower rating, and you can work up to and start demonstrating and start practicing to achieve that full proficiency, that full competency. So with any competencies, it's kind of an ongoing dialogue and a shift and change. You might do a course, you might not demonstrate the behavior, you might demonstrate the course, but not do the course. Sorry, demonstrate the behavior and not do the course. So it allows for shift and change across individuals and across competencies as a whole. In terms of activities, there's a range of those continuous performance activities. An administrator can create their own custom forms, whether they're 1 or 2 questions or multi-page, multi-stage type questions for a larger appraisal. And there's reporting behind all of these things. So you can report on people's responses. You can see who hasn't responded to an item, and you can even do comparative reporting between different activities. So if at the start of your year, you answered, I'm feeling great, and then in the mid-year, you answered that same question in a different activity, I'm not doing so well. Those can be highlighted. That same question can have a unique ID, also have a shared ID, and a manager can go, oh goodness, Lisa needs something here. I can intervene. I can provide Lisa what she needs, so we don't run the risk of her not being happy and satisfied in her job or being the best that she can be in a different role. But you can also identify people that aren't performing using this smaller, more meaningful discussions. Now I've talked pretty much solidly for 50 minutes. I'll round out and finalize on multi-tenancy. So the system supports, as Lisa is a big fan of, multi-tenancy, which provides options around extended enterprise. So you can divide your site into themes, into tenants. Those tenants can have different themes on their sites and different looks and feels and designs. They can have their own login page with their own imagery, their own content, and you can disseminate user administration rights to different user managers within that tenant. So you don't need one very tired, stressed out site administrator looking after everyone. And you can also have them creating their own content and administering their own enrollments within the courses that are specific to their tenant. So you can have two modes of tenancy: multi-tenancy, which is isolated, where you only have tenant-specific content, whether that be tenant resources and workspaces within Engage, tenant-specific performance activities within Perform, or tenant-specific courses within Total Learn. Or you might have some tenant-specific content and then some shared content. So there might be some courses that all tenants need to do, and they can join together and complete that content together, or individually, or it could be completely separated into this isolation mode. Now, 51 minutes is my limit. Are there any questions?
There's a question from Christian about competencies, and it's, can you have more than 3 proficiency levels? So could you have 5?
Yeah, you sure can. You can have 14 if you want to make things difficult for all of your users. So you can create your own custom scales as you need. That's a great question. Thank you, Christian. So I can create scales down here. So for example, this is a 4-step scale, and you can choose where the proficient value sits for everyone, but you can change that for each group or assignment. You can create additional scales. So you could have a new competency scale which has 5 or more, or even 2. It's up to you. As long as there's 1 or more, you can create those new scales, call them whatever you like, and have them listed in whatever order that you like. Great question. Thank you, Christian.
Thanks, Meredith. We've just had another one from Caroline. In which language is Totra available?
Wow, we have got the best questions this time. So we have translations in 35 different languages. That includes US and English. If you would like to take a look at this page, we got 14. These languages are popping up on screen now. So we have most of the major translations like Arabic, German, French, Hebrew, Hindi, Italian, French, Dutch, Swedish, and Chinese. So we've got a range of different languages that you can translate to, and you'll see that here I've got just a few installed, and I can switch as I like to my preferred language. Whatever you have installed, you can choose what users can select from, and then any content that is built into the system, such as buttons or navigation or block titles, have been translated, but any content that you create, such as Lisa's small but perhaps unhealthy obsession around multi-tenancy, is not translated, so content isn't. Right. Any other questions there?
No, that's it for now. Thanks, Meredith.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. So just 2 more, I promise, 2 more PowerPoints. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to find out more, I know that I've been talking super fast and I've only scratched the surface of some of the functionality available. You can request a slower, more detailed, more interactive demo through one of our partners. You can request that through our website and we'll allocate it to a partner in your region with expertise in your sector. You can, of course, go into the Total community, look at the different resources that are available, watch some of the Academy videos, and even ask a question directly on the forums. We also have full and maintained help documentation, which Lee might be kind enough to post a link to in the chat. And you can look at detailed instructions on all the individual pieces of functionality. So if you get stuck, you can have a look. There's screenshots and very detailed help documentation across the site. So thank you so much, everyone who has joined. Some fantastic questions. Thank you so much, Lee, for feeding me those questions. you have the opportunity to post follow-ups in the forums, or you can reach out directly. And I would encourage you to look at some of the other events that are coming. Sometimes, hearing from an actual customer is a little bit more meaningful. So as it happens over the next couple of months, our Platinum Partners Catalyst are running sessions with the British Dental Association and the Met Office, the two fantastic installations, so you can hear from the people that have actually been customers or are customers, and what it's like implementing Totara and using Totara and using with their end users. If you are in sort of Czech area, you can attend the e-learning media cafe. I think you dial in as well. And we have a fantastic co-presenting session with our Chief Learning Officer, Lars, and Danny. No, it's not Danny. And you can join these sessions and learn a little bit around the thought leadership side of Totara. So what motivates learners? What does the talent experience platform mean at a more meta level? Any last questions in the chat there or in the Q&A, Lee?
No, there's nothing else come through, Meredith.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, everyone who's joined. Very much appreciate your time. I know that I've talked super fast, so maybe you've watched the recording on half speed. Thank you so much for joining. I will just run a final exit poll just to see how you're feeling about, here we go, next poll. Thank you for joining. Just if there's anything else that you would like us to cover next time, or any further information that you might like to see. And if you've got any particular comments that aren't questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. You can send them to myself or Lee directly if you don't want other folks to know. For example, if you'd like to reach out and learn a little bit more about a particular subject. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. Thank you again, Lee. We'll be posting this recording in the next few days up on the Totara community. Stay tuned for other webinars and other announcements. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, what's left of it, or the start of it, and enjoy tomorrow as well, Friday for most. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.